Hello, welcome again to Techturks. Today I have Wande Adams. Adams is a co-founder of Bob Africa. Bob Africa is a tech hub and talent incubator. Wande, welcome to Techturks. So Bob Africa. So what basically does it? How does it help people or businesses in this part of the world?
Thank you. Before I go into that, I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
And I do admire the work that you're doing with Sparkle.
Thank you.
And some of the work that you're doing are similar to some of the things that we're doing. But first, a little bit of a background on myself. My name is Wande Adams. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Bob Africa. Most people who know the Bob Africa, they know a building on the Ikorodu Road right next to Guinea Insurance with a big logo on it. We're a tech talent incubator. And before I tell you what that means, let's take it back to what the problem is. 2018, myself and Tosin Oshikoya, my co-founder, started an enterprise tech company called Innovate Solutions. And what capitalists, and our idea was just to make money, right? And Innovate still runs today, but while we were running Innovate, we ran into a problem. We were trying to recruit, and we were realizing that we couldn't find good talent. And then research tells you that Nigeria is a very young population, average age 18, that our universities are graduating 600,000 to 1 million students every year, and only 9% of them could get a job in the first year. That's 54,000. So it means that we're throwing hundreds of thousands of young people into the workforce that are not able to get jobs. And so what that tells you is people are looking for talent, people are looking for work, but they can't. We have that gap in between. So what that tells you is that our universities, our tertiary institutions are graduating people that are not equipped with 21st century skills. So we decided that we were going to bridge this gap by doing an offshoot of Innovate Solutions by creating a tech hub. And so what does this tech hub do? The Bob Africa is a talent incubator that creates opportunities, career opportunities and business opportunities for anyone who needs that opportunity in tech. So we're not a tech business. We have a tech business in Lekki called Innovate Solutions. We're a tech hub. So we're a social enterprise that provides education and empowerment for individuals interested in a career in tech or businesses, tech businesses that are at the very beginning of their journey.
Okay. All right, great, thanks. Bob Africa is 3 years old now.
Yes.
And so it'd be interesting for viewers to know exactly how you started this, because it's one thing having an idea, but it's bringing it to life, right?
Yeah.
Getting people to actually use the platform, right?
Yeah.
It'd be good to know, how you started, how you created awareness, how you convince people, because yes, people want to learn or to upskill, but they have a choice in where to go.
Yeah.
Why did they choose Bob Africa? What did you do? So it'd be just to
It's been an organic journey.
Yes.
Let me start with that. One of the things that we started January of 2020.
Okay.
And you can imagine starting a business
COVID.
at the time.
Yeah.
So by March, we had to shut down, right? But luckily, we'd set up this business from what the office looks like to the type of people that wants to work in it, to the type of investors that are coming on board, to not look like the typical Nigerian business. So we had already initiated work from home Fridays.
Okay.
So when COVID hit, we were fine, right? We just
continue.
As a matter of fact, before the country shut down, we had said, you know what, everyone work from home. And we anticipated the country shutting down, and it wasn't good for us, right? But luckily, we had set up the first 3 months of the business, January to March, to not do any business, but to set up the operations of the business. And so we're going to start business in April. So one of the first introduction of the Bob to the general public was that we decided to do something crazy. Hire people on the spot. So we had a 3-day recruitment drive, and which was heavily announced. And we said, apply, get interviewed, get offers on the same day, right? And so that was how we built our very first team. So that team that we built, they were supposed to resume in April. But while we were recruiting our first team, we also recruited our first cohort of students, right? And so they were supposed to start in April, but we had planned for a physical training. So that couldn't happen. So what we did was we then created an initiative during COVID to look for health tech startups that we could fund, right? So our investors wanted to back a health tech startup, and we ran a pitch day. But what we did was we ran a 2-week program during COVID where we also gave free tech trainings, because we just realized that a lot of people were home. They didn't have their companies when they hadn't figured out how to work from home, and so they were just sitting at home, right? So we're like, you have a laptop and internet. You can take a Scrum class. You can jump on a data analysis class, and so we created awareness that way, leveraging, that people were sitting at home at the beginning of COVID, and so that's how the first introduction, and then from then on, it's been word of mouth, media, social media, some obviously press releases and stuff like that.
I mean, how do you keep the lights on in terms of funding, in terms of, I know you have to invest a bit, from a commercial perspective?
Yeah. So, tech hubs are not, can I use that word, sexy?
Yeah.
Right? To investors,
yeah.
Right? There are impact funds out there that we apply for. We also try to access grant. Our training programs are paid for either upfront payment plan or through a student loan, right? And there are initiatives that allow people access these student loans. The federal government has the Creative Industry Fund that allows Nigerians access up to 3 million naira for tech training. So we've been able to access that for some of our beneficiaries. Lagos State has their own Lagos Innovate Fund, and then also
do they use your co-working space for them?
So the Lagos State co-working initiative is a voucher.
Voucher, yes,
right.
Exactly.
So you apply for the voucher, and then
you're part of the.
So we're part of that as well. So
okay.
So to keep the lights on, we've been making revenue.
Okay.
We are now at the point where we now need to scale, and so we're now talking about taking especially our training, our flagship training fellowship program, which I'd like to dig deeper into at some point.
Yes.
Offline. So the fellowship program is now what we've been able to do physically for 2 years plus. We're now trying to take virtual so we can scale it.
So let me ask the question, and so to get a sense of the impact that you have. So let's say, and walk me through this. Let's say I have somebody that lives with me, probably went to university 5 years ago, and then got a job and needs to reskill.
Yes.
Right? And so and I say, there's Bob Africa. What would that journey be? What can he do? What are the choices? What can he end up? What kind of skills can he end up acquiring?
So first,
how much would it cost?
Yeah. So first, go on our website to get some information.
Okay.
If then you can see all of the different tracks and career paths that. So you want to be a software developer. Is it .NET that you want to write or Java? So you pick one and you apply.
Okay.
And then once you apply, you go through shortlisting. So we shortlist, because what makes our program good is the quality of our recruitment is key.
Okay.
So we shortlist from the application level, then we do an interview, then we also do a boot camp where we then sieve out the best students. So because we are at midpoint 1% of our applicants, we have to do a lot of work in getting the best, right? And so for those who don't make it, we still give them resources to go and study so they can make it the next time. So after that process, they pick a payment plan. Are you paying upfront? Are you trying to pick a payment plan during the training, or do you need access to a student loan? And then, so once you're approved, or once you have figured out how to pay, then training starts. It's 6 months, 4 to 6 months. Let me tell you something about training, right? I always ask people, what is the outcome of your training? The outcome of the training.
Which was the question I was going to ask. So
the outcome of the training for our fellowship program is to land a job.
Okay.
And so it's not treated as school. It is 9 to 5 for 6 months, 960 hours of hands-on project-based work that will land you a job locally or internationally.
Fantastic. So question, so how many people have you taken through this program, like in numbers? Like
We've done it in the hundreds, and then now we're looking to scale into the thousands.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've only done it in Lagos.
Okay.
And now we're looking at touching the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
So like an organization like mine, one of the things that we're pursuing is diversity, especially in the engineering side. But clearly, I mean, there are more men than women. In fact, it's a challenge because not many are going through this STEM through educational level. So I mean, like, what are organizations like you trying to level out that playing field? How are you trying to attract more women into this area?
I'll tell you what, if you come to our organization, because we also have software developers, because we also outsource engineers, and we also build products for our clients, and you take out our engineering team, there might be a gender balance. But by the time you add the engineering team,
of course,
it's skewed unfairly to men. And it's a big problem for me, and I fight my HR all the time. Get more women in this. So what we did from the very beginning, we looked at data and we saw that it was 19% participation, right? And so we created an NGO under the bulb called the Tech Jewel. And what a jewel or what a tech jewel is a woman in tech, right? And so we have now started to work on special cohorts of all women. Obviously, we need, because it's an NGO, we need contributions, right? Outside of that, we also reserve 30% of the seats for any one of the programs. So if you're coming to our incubator program for Startup Engine, so if we're trying to incubate 10, we've reserved seats for 3. It doesn't mean that we can't get more. You can still come in through the general pipeline, but at least 30% is reserved for women. That is what's going to help us, to balance the scale. If you think about a funnel, we're a pipeline, right? We're pouring talent into this funnel, right? And if we keep pouring men into it, we won't get women coming out at the bottom, right? And so TechJewel helps us in a way where we can balance the scale.
When I look at, the future of like businesses and enterprise in Nigeria, tech is going to play a large role. You just have to look at countries like India and see the huge contribution to the economy that tech provides. How do you think we're going to do you have a vision how we can achieve it in Nigeria? If when we have the new display government and they call you one day and say, how can you help us? How do you think we can get more people into this space and now provide these resources to the rest of the world like India is doing? What would you, what would your contribution?
I've been talking about the Bengaluru story since 2018 when I moved to Nigeria. And Bengaluru is Bangalore.
Bangalore, yeah.
Right. And in the 70s, it was all farmland. Right. And there was a concerted effort to create a tech hub. See, tech hub is not a building, right? It's an ecosystem. And so what I've been preaching is, and I asked people even before Twitter came to Africa, if any of the FANG companies decide to set up an African headquarter, where is it going? You see, if you want to set up, and there's no tech company that probably does not have a headquarter in one of these 2 cities that I'm about to mention. If you want to take your business to India and set up a headquarter, it's a tech company, you are narrowed down to 2 cities. New Delhi, because you want to be in the big city, or Bangalore. In the US, Seattle or San Diego. Somebody wants to come to Africa today, they would have to go and do a feasibility study. Where is the best place to go? So we don't have where everybody's trying, CC Hub, Andela, Decagon, the Bulb, we're all trying. We don't have that ecosystem, right? And so it has to be the work of society and government to consider tech hubs. Look at some of the startups you have today. A good number of them came out of CC Hub. You know, we now have some startups in Techstars. We enable them and give them the wings to fly before Techstars could find them, right? And so some of the things that I've been talking about that we could do, like you said, if the government calls me today, the first thing that I would even preach is consider any coding bootcamp a tertiary institution. And give them the type of funding that they need. Another thing that I would say is fund the startup law. It goes a long way, especially for tech hubs. But for me, most importantly, is unemployment is 33%. To put that in perspective, and I like to do this, it means 1 in every 3 employable Nigerian
It's jobless.
is jobless.
It's an opportunity too.
And talent is universal.
Yeah. And they're all young
opportunity,
people. And they're young people.
And they're all young people.
They're all young people.
So the government needs to create what we call the bulb a ladder. The government needs to create a ladder of opportunity by empowering tech hubs. I've seen some state governments say they are doing tech hub, but what they have is a building.
It's a couple of computers.
And computers.
A couple.
A couple, you're right. And then slow internet.
Yes, of course. No, yes, exactly.
And it's unfortunate, right? So the work that I've been doing is I've been saying, look, Ogun State Tech Hub, give us space, let's train people here. The people that come out of here, we can set up a dev shop in your state and they can continue to develop for local and international organizations. Because guess what? 50% of Fortune 500 companies actually outsource their software engineering. Do you believe that? And they like Nigerians because we speak English and our accent is clean. So the opportunity is there. It's just we don't have the ecosystem and we're doing it in silos. I can only do hundreds or thousands at a time. But imagine if there was a pathway, if we were certified or Decagon is certified or any of these bootcamps certified as a tertiary institution. It's a pathway from secondary school to go set up, software developers.
So, Starlink. So, internet is one of the, I'm sure, one of the key inputs into successful tech hubs or even businesses. So, Starlink has finally rolled out in Nigeria. Do you think it's going to do you think it has the potential to make a difference, or should I say, wake up the competition as well, because that cost of providing decent internet speed to do a lot of things like artificial intelligence, etc. hasn't been there. Now you can buy, it's easy to set up, but it's not cheap, but relatively moderate compared to what you have in the country.
Historically, internet services have been more expensive in Africa. And you can understand why. These guys are laying cable from Europe all the way to Nigeria. And so again, it's just like everything else that we import, right? So Starlink comes in and there's a little bit of, price. You have Sparkle. And I'm sure you've heard a lot of the fintechs in the ecosystem. Financial inclusion. I have a fintech too, but I'm not interested in financial inclusion because we have not moved the needle of BVN drastically as we should, because the underlying issue is digital inclusion. And so that's what Starlink helps with. My concern is to access the internet, you need quality devices as well. And we still cannot afford the good devices. So I am excited about Starlink, but we still have work to do.
Thank you for coming to Techturks, and we'll definitely continue the conversation offline.
Absolutely.